right. Morning, everyone. Welcome and Happy New Year. On behalf of the Court of Common Pleas of Bucks County, County Commissioners, and our row officers, it's my privilege to welcome everybody to the Bucks County 2024 inauguration. First, let me congratulate all of those successful candidates who are here today to be sworn in. I'm sure that the people of Bucks County will be well served as you begin your new terms. Once again, I'd like to thank the commissioners for inviting me to participate in this ceremony. Certainly, it's one of the last things I'll do as president judge, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in this room that are happy to hear that. So, what? Yeah, Judge Finello doesn't care. What a surprise. Okay. Sophia Smith, is she here? Would you come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? And after she's finished, I'm going to ask everybody to remain standing.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank
you. And is Don McCloskey here? Would you lead us in the national anthem, please? I'm sorry. I'm looking in the wrong direction.
Good to see you.
It's 6 days left, so.
You're doing great. This is America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty. Above the fruited plain, America, oh America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea, from sea to shining sea. Play ball.
Thank you. All right, is Neil Schnitzer here? Would you come up and give the invocation, please?
There we go. Good morning. As we are taught by Rabbi Tarfon in Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, chapter 2, verse 16, you are not required to complete the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. When undertaking the responsibility of governance, Nothing is more important nor more appropriate to understand. The process of governing, of serving one's community and its people is one of process. Process leading to action, to, if I may borrow a term from the US Constitution, a more perfect union. It is a never-ending endeavor, a constant struggle to make positive change, as is every elected official, the good and committed public servants who will stand before us today to proclaim their commitment to better the lives of all who are privileged to call Bucks County, Pennsylvania, home, are bound by this call. It is a call to serve all the people, not only those who elected them, not only those who subscribe to one or another political ideal, religious belief, social or cultural norm, all the people. May they be blessed with the knowledge that our strength lies in our ability to see one another as B'Tselem Elohim, created in the image of the divine, of God, as we all are. No matter our diversity, whether of faith, of color, of language, of fiscal means, or any other metric, we are all one humanity. May these who pledge their service find the wisdom to lead with dignity and honor. May they be blessed with wisdom, understanding, and compassion to better our community and to courageously face the inevitable challenges that such service may hold. May they be blessed with peace of mind, body, and spirit as they strive to diligently advance the causes of justice and goodness for all. We must remember, when will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. May we all be motivated to the important tasks that will help us to retain and augment liberty and justice for each and every human being. May we and all people be blessed with open hearts and mutual understanding. And may God bless America. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Schnitzer. What we're going to do next is we're going to have the row officers come up and take their oath of office. And we're going to begin with our treasurer, Christian Ballerini. She's being sworn in by the Honorable Gary B. Gilman. You can go down if you'd like.
Which is as follows. This is what democracy is supposed to look like. And I hope the year 2024 reflects our democracy in its best light. So. And speaking of democracy, Chris, we congratulate you on your re-election. We know the county is well served, as with you being the treasurer. We know you care about more than just money. You care about the homeless, you care about victims of crime, and your life has reflected that. So it is my honor to swear you in. Okay? Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have our Clerk of Courts come up, Eileen Hartnett Albalar, being sworn in by the Honorable Daniel J. Finello, Jr.
Sneak around so I can see you. Morning, everyone. What a great day, huh? Really is. Oh, boy. Okay. In between Warminster, where I live, and where we're standing now is a little town called Warrington. And that's where Mrs. Abiar lives, okay? And not only that, she's been a great public servant down there for many, many years as a supervisor. And I don't want to tell you, anybody drives through Warrington, you know, there's many nice places in there, many beautiful park system, beautiful fields for the kids, a lot of good stuff. And much of it was done under the supervision of Mrs. Abiar. She has also been involved in numerous activities throughout the years, and has done a good job and has taken a leadership role in each of them. And I first met her probably at the Ben Wilson Senior Center many years ago when there was a senior outreach program there. And she was working for the Opportunity Council at the time, I believe. And we were all there just trying to see how we could help the seniors out in Warminster and Warrington and wherever else they come from when they go to the Ben Wilson Senior Center. And our families became great friends, okay? My daughter was an Ivy Land Borough Councilwoman, and her and Eileen had many adventures together and many encounters, and you know, we've all grown to love the way that Mrs. Abiar carries out her duties and her personal way about her. Very nice. So, are you prepared to take the oath of office, Mrs. Abiar?
I am.
Okay, who's that holding the Bible? You want to tell us?
Andrew Albiar and Emily Albiar.
They're your children? Okay, I forgot to also mention the other member of the Abiar family, Corporal Abiar, is here somewhere in the audience. I won't miss seeing him at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, because I'm a senior judge now. And by the way, Ms. Abiar, this is my first official duty as a senior judge. So let's take the oath of office. Put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eileen Hartnett Albiar,
I, Eileen Hartnett Albiar,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I shall support, obey, and defend
that I shall support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I shall faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office,
the duties of my office
courts,
as Clerk of Courts
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, good job, kids. I think I stayed here.
Yeah, you're gonna stay for a moment. Just on a personal note, I know our clerk of court's father. I used to, I don't know where Mr. Hartnett is. I spoke to him earlier. There he is. I used to ride in with him when I was a law clerk in the U.S. Attorney's Office, but he's still retired. And I just have a quick question for our clerk of courts. Is he still driving? So, it's nice to see you, Joe. Thank you.
Well, at least safe in Warminster and Warrington.
All right, all right. Our Register of Wills is next, Linda Bobrin, Esquire. Come on up. And again, Judge Finello will handle the duties of swearing her in.
Bring the whole team.
Wow. You might have to move the podium.
I know.
Cantor's holding the Bible.
Yep.
Okay. It's a beautiful invitation, by the way, Cantor. Appreciate it. Linda Bobber, what can you say? Has just won re-election, and deservedly so. And about more than 20 years ago, somebody gave me a card, and the card said, "The highest form of wisdom is kindness." And kindness is a great way to describe Linda. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about her, nor have I heard her say a bad word about anybody. And again, another longtime public servant, a Newtown supervisor, okay, the Register of Wills does a great job. She, you know, it's a tough thing, okay? You got people coming in there that have just lost a loved one or whatever, and you have to, you know, do what's right by the law, but you also have to have a little compassion. And I can't think of anybody better to carry that out than Linda, okay? Because she does have a real compassion for the job and a real personal touch for the job. And I'll tell you a couple things. She does this thing around Veterans Day, vows for veterans, which is a great thing. You know, any veteran that wants to come in and get ready to go up the Register of Wills office, she has certain people come in there and perform the marriages, and it's just a lovely thing to behold. And it shows a great respect for those who serve our country. And the other thing that she does, and it's coming up, so we'll plug it, right? The Valentine's Day wedding, okay, 14. And not only does she have that up in her office with, you know, the same group of people, where some of the common pleas judges or whatever, and people who want to get married on Valentine's Day. And I think she has that because she doesn't want the husbands to forget when their anniversaries were. But, and last year, she got all 18 magisterial district judges, me and a couple of my colleagues up there on the bench, to do things. And any time you can get all the magisterial district judges on the same page, that's quite a feat. Right, Judge Bateman?
6 days left.
Anyway, all right, well, but like I said, it's truly my honor to swear in Linda, and as it was Mrs. Abiar, and it's just a great thing. I know they're both going to do a great job, and we're going to continue 4 years now with Linda. And are you prepared to take the oath of office, Ms. Bobrin?
I am.
Okay. Left hand on the Bible, right hand. I, Linda Bobrin,
I, Linda Bobrin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I shall support, obey, and defend
that I shall support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
and that I shall faithfully discharge
and that I shall faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as Register of Wills
as Register of Wills
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great way to start off being senior judge. I wish everybody a good day, and let's see if we can get through the winter without any snow, and have a good day.
Thank you, Judge Finello. We're going to have the coroner, Patty Campy, being sworn in by the Honorable Brian T. McGuffin next.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian McGuffin. I have the honor of swearing in Patricia A. Campy as our coroner. Patty, I got to know you just a little bit as we got ready for this ceremony, and I wanted to thank you for getting off the sidelines of life and getting involved in public service. I want to congratulate you on your successful election and all of the successful candidates and all of those unsuccessful candidates who also got off the sidelines of life, tried to get involved, and wanted to serve their community. I know that part of, all right, thank you. I know that part of why you're in public service is a result of your father. And I know that you're bringing not just your extensive medical background, but a carpentry background as well. I'm sure that's connected to coroner in a way we don't want to think about, but in any event, what your dad's name was Ernie? And his picture, I believe, and Jerry is with you, your husband today, your dad's picture is inside the Bible today to show his influence in your life. Is that right? Are you ready to be sworn in? And before we swear you in, you have some other family members in the audience. Is that right? Do you want to just stand for just a second? Thank you all for being here. Thank you. All right, if you'll put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I, Patricia A. Campy, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, you're sworn in. Congratulations.
All right, Mr. McCluskey, it's my understanding you're up next, so, and then we'll hear from the commissioners.
All right. This is a song I wrote on the way over here. Calling it Imagine. That's John Lennon's song, Imagine, and it goes like so. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people cheering all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one.
Thank you. We're now going to ask each commissioner to come forward and be sworn in. We're going to begin with Commissioner Jean DiGirolamo, being sworn in by the Honorable Michael W. Gallagher. Good here, Judge.
Thank you, Gene, for allowing me to do this today. As most of you know or don't know, Gene's actually my brother-in-law. Joe's my uncle, so it's a long time family here to be here. But congratulations to the mayor, Mr. Harvey, Ms. Marseglia. Congratulations, hopefully successful 4 more years. And then, Gene and the mayor I've known my whole life. I've known him probably since I was 14 years old, so we go way back from working on the farm, and we both came a long way from picking turnips and judge, commissioner, mayor. So it's all good for all of us, but Gene has a special spot in my heart. 2 years ago today, I buried my wife, his sister. So it's an honor, but it's a tough day for me today. So, Gene, are you ready to take the oath? Raise your left hand, put your right hand in the Bible. I,
Gene
DiGirolamo,
DiGirolamo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
as Bucks County Commissioner
as Bucks County Commissioner
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. I did forget to introduce Gene's family, both his daughters and his son-in-law here, Mary, Gene, and Sean, and of course, his uncle, the mayor.
And again, that's my 2 daughters, Mary and Gina, and there's actually one more up here because Mary is pregnant with her first child, 5 months pregnant.
Thank you. All right, next I would ask Commissioner Diane M. Ellis Marseglia to come forward. She's being sworn in by the Honorable Daniel Baranowski.
Good morning and Happy New Year. It is an honor and privilege to be asked again to administer the oath of office to Commissioner Diane Ellis Marseglia. This is the 5th time that I've had this honor, 2008, 2012, 16, 20, and now 24. Diane told me the other day that I may be the most repeatedly used judge of all commissioner oaths. I haven't fact-checked that one yet, but I think that's the nice way of her saying that we're both getting old. The oath of office is not only constitutionally required before each term, but is an important part of the democratic process. It is where the successfully elected or re-elected person makes a promise to faithfully perform the required duties with fidelity. Fidelity, derived from the Latin word fidelis, means faithful, loyal, and trustworthy. I know Commissioner Marseglia will fulfill this promise for another 4 years as a county commissioner, just as she had for the last 16 years for Bucks County and her many years of service in Middletown before that. I've known Diane for 30, 40 plus years now. I guess we are getting old. As we both started in Middletown, so I know that Diane is always steadfast to this pledge, as she always truly wants to help people. Her social worker background becomes apparent in many circumstances. Although she has sometimes been accused of being overzealous in her pursuits, imagine that, I know she is a determined fighter. She is dedicated to her ideals and making the county better for its residents. She is never afraid to take on an issue, even if it's just to help one resident at a time or one issue at a time. For that, I applaud her resolve and wish her continued success for yet another term. And now, if you're ready to take the oath of office, her daughter is holding the Bible for her. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Diane Ellis Marseglia,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Robert J. Harvey Jr. is being sworn in by the Honorable Jordan B. Yeager. Would you come forward, please?
Yeah.
So, Bob, who do you have with you?
My mother, my son Brendan, my daughter Emma.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here, and I didn't prepare remarks about today, but when we go through a process like this of swearing in elected officials, it's a reminder of the strength of our democratic process and the strength of our electoral system. And we have to recognize the fragility, how fragile the democratic process is and the electoral system is. And it will only be preserved when people like Commissioner Harvey and the other elected officials today stand up and play a role. Because it's the integrity, Bob, that you bring to the role, the decency that you bring to the role, the commitment to doing what's good, that preserves our democracy. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
I, Robert Harvey Jr.,
I, Robert John Harvey Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
that I will discharge the duties of Commissioner
that I will discharge the duties of Commissioner
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to hear some brief remarks from our commissioners, but before I call them up here, I'm sure we're all familiar, being Bucks County residents, with George Washington crossing the Delaware as part of our history. What you may not know is that he also gave the shortest inauguration speech in our country's history. Just saying. We're going to begin with Commissioner DiGirolamo. Would you come on up and say some words, please?
Morning, everyone. Happy and healthy New Year to each and every one of you. And congratulations to the row officers and my fellow commissioners who were sworn in today. Looking forward to working with you. And we have our other row officers that are there today. Welcome. Some other elected officials and staff. Just a pleasure and an honor to be with you today. It was said earlier that this is what judge democracy should look like. So that's why they invited me. I'm the only Republican getting sworn in here today. But it's an honor to be here today. And I want to thank my Uncle Joe, who's the mayor of Bensalem. Thank you for being here, holding the Bible. And my two daughters, Gina and Mary, thank you. And Sean, Mary's husband, thank you for being here. And my other guests, and I really want to give a shout out to Marcy, who has been working with me for 30 years as an elected official, and even before that, with me and Judge Mike Gallagher working on the farm before we got into elected office. So thank you, and she's here with her husband, Mike. It's kind of like a day, I think, for reflection. And I was sitting up in my office thinking about what I was going to say today, and my eyes came to this book that's on my shelf. And the book is the towns in Italy where my grandparents came from, Oscula, Pacerno. And me and my Uncle Joe, we had the pleasure about 15 years ago of going and visiting this town in Italy with a few other people. And what an experience and how emotional. My grandfather, DiGirolamo, and my grandmother both came from that town, as well as my mom's mom. They immigrated over here around the year of 1912. My grandfather was 15 and my grandmother was 12 years old. They didn't know each other until they came over here and immigrated over here. And I was thinking about my grandfather, Joseph, the mayor's dad, because I grew up with my grandparents on the farm in the same house with my parents. My mom is still alive, by the way. She couldn't be here today, 95 years old and still going strong. Thank God, what a blessing, right, Father? Yep, yep. And growing up on the farm, my grandfather, what a man, only went to second grade over in Italy, so that's the only education he had. But he was probably the smartest person that I ever met. Make no mistake about it, on the farm, right, Mayor, he was the boss. He was tough, and he was fair. He was hardworking and demanded from everybody else that you had to be hardworking as well. And he had a lot of different sayings that he'd love to just say all the time. And the one that I remember the most was he used to say, everybody wants to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. And maybe some of you have heard that before. And this is also in my office, and I brought this down. This is the picture of my grandmother and grandfather on their wedding day. It was about 1920, Mayor, I guess. Yep, 1920. My grandmother's name was Teresa, and she worked on the farm as well, out in the fields. I mean, what wonderful role models they both were. So that saying that everybody wants to get to heaven, nobody wants to die to get there. I mean, when I was young, I hear that, and I thought it meant something about heaven and dying. But what he really was trying to talk about was life and how to live your life and how to be successful. Now, he came over here, he started farming. His first farm was, if you believe it, at the Roosevelt Boulevard in Grand Avenue. Can you imagine a farm being there? And during the Depression, farming was a good thing to be in, so, he made good money, and he actually put a deposit on a farm in Bensalem in the early 30s, and it was down across from the Chamonix State Park on Dunks Ferry Road, and that's where we lived for the longest of times, and just great to grow up on the farm and right along the Delaware River. But he taught us about what was important in life. Your family, your friends, and your faith. And he instilled in all of us, including the mayor, I'm sure he would agree, and my dad, who's been dead for 30 years, and Mike Gallagher, who's worked on the farm, he instilled in us a sense of you had to work hard to be successful. You had to be determined. You had to be honest. And you had to keep your word. And I just kind of remember all those things my whole life, and I've tried to live my life like that. We're all only human, maybe not successful all the time, but I've done my very best to live by what he taught me. And as I think about today, and this is democracy at work, I still believe that people, our constituents, whether here in Bucks County, in Pennsylvania, across the country, most of them anyway, would love to see people working together, Democrats and Republicans. It's so painful sometimes to look at the dysfunction in Washington. So painful. And even at times up in Harrisburg, although I know a lot of those people, and they're all really good people in both parties. So as we begin this journey here with our newly elected and sworn in row officers and the row officers that are here today, and all the elected officials in Bucks County, I think people want us to work together. And that's what I'm going to try to do. Because there's a lot of people here in Bucks County that need help. I know. Marcy knows, because we get the calls every day. People need help. And the way to solve these problems is for us to work together. I mean, we're not always all going to agree. It's Democrat, political, and Republicans. But when we don't agree, we can do it respectfully and look for compromise and look for solutions to the problem. And that's the way I am going to behave. I don't know if behave is the right word, but that's the way I'm going to go forward with my fellow commissioners, with my other elected officials that are here in Bucks County, because we got a lot of problems to solve here. People have a lot of problems. So with that, I am going to say thank you all for being here. I know I have a lot of friends that are here as well. Thank you all the families that are here. Thank you. Let's move ahead. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we're going to hear from Commissioner Marseglia.
Good morning, and thank you for being here. You know, when I arrived here, I was 47 years old. Now I am 63. So I am guessing I have that aging in place thing down. But as you get older, the one thing you notice is you don't always look just to the future anymore. You start to look at your past. You start to evaluate where you've been, to be more reflective and scrutinize things. And in my contemplation of my purpose and meaning in life, I've also gone into looking back to my extended family, my super extended family, and the historic family. In fact, the Bible that I was sworn in on today is the Ellis Family Bible, which they bought locally in 1851. And you can tell that they came home and they filled it all in back to about 1800. But then there's very little record. Now, they'd been here for 100 years at that point. So I guess what I think happened is they were just surviving. They were trying to feed themselves on the earth of Bucks County until they got to a point where they could feed other people, where they made a profit, and then they could go and have that Bible and keep a record. My job, 200 and 300 years later, is to make sure, as the last living Ellis, that I close their record, making sure that Bucks County is the same as it was for my long-ago relatives, that it's a safe, loving, peaceful place to live and raise your families. My relatives left that record of the Bible. My record will be a more public record. And as I think about it, I hope that it says that I tried to help people to get mental health services, that I helped to reduce the stigma. I hope my record shows that I yelled out about that opiate crisis long ago and have been asking for treatment as the answer. That I focused as much as I could on improving relationships between the community and our police officers. And that I worked to create a better environment for those people who work with our children who've been neglected and abused. When I look back at my 16 years, it was all wonderful, but the last 4 years have been my favorite working with Commissioner Harvey. When we first got in, Commissioner Harvey, Commissioner DiGirolamo, and I all had to deal with a huge transition of government. And just as we got adjusted to it, a pandemic hit, the first one in 100 years. In some ways, it was challenging, but it was also invigorating. I think the biggest difficulty of the day was the absurd and mean conspiracy theories we constantly had to deal with. So I hope in the next 4 years to have different conspiracies. Conspiracies of love, conspiracies of hope, conspiracies of kindness. In order to lead in that way, I think one of the things I need to do is to look over myself and see if there are strengths that I can harness and also own up to my weaknesses. Now, Ralph Waldo Emerson said that nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. But my guess is that his and my identification of enthusiasm might be different than yours, that you may have seen me more as petulant. So I will work on that. I will try to be less hyper. I will try to be less exhausting. And I will try to take deep breaths and not try to get things done and have you get things done before the time is right. My strengths, I think, are what I came here with, my core beliefs that humans are born wanting to do well, that it is easy to find the next right thing to do, that it's really simple things that we can do to make others' lives easier. And then in the end, it is all about fairness and justice for all. As I move on for the next 4 years, remembering that sometimes you will think of me as the good witch and sometimes you will think of me as the bad witch, I first want to focus on making sure that we can sustain the changes that we have made in mental health and the changes that we are going to make in treatment for both mental health and substance abuse. I want to also make sure that our co-responder program and our community relationships with the police officers is institutionalized. My new focus, however, will be on the environment. We have to do something about global warming. There are literally children being born today who will die if we don't do something, and I am ready to own up to that. And my other focus will be on housing, not just for those who are experiencing homelessness, but those in the working class and those in the middle class who have every right to live in Bucks County like I do and like my relatives do. As I close, it is really hard to thank all of the people who have been in my life that brought me to where I am today. So I'm just going to thank some that I feel I just can't do without. First of all, the staff of the county, thank you. The commissioners can't get anything done if you don't work with us. And next, I want to thank Robin Trinnell and Helene Ratner and Candy Cohen and Sharon Rassman and Anna Payne and Walt Higgins. And I want to say a special thank you to the elected officials who have stuck beside me: John Galloway, Tina Davis, Brian Monroe, Perry Warren, and Tim Brennan. Another thank you out there to some other people who have really been with me, and they may not realize all the effect they've had: Jonathan Seidel, David Truelove, Sean Kilkenny, Greg McCarthy, Dan McCaffrey, and Paul Lang. And finally, a deep personal thank you to Katie, my daughter. Katie, you were 1 month old when I was appointed to the Neshaminy School Board. I think you were 6 or 7 when I was appointed to, well, when I got a seat on the Middletown Township Board of Supervisors. And now 16 years later, here you are, and I am proud of everything you do. And let's just say it, she's getting a master's in social work. You make me absolutely proud every day. But I want you to know that I recognize that you have been the one that has always stood by me. That even as our family grew smaller and smaller, you had to be the cheerleader. And you were here every single time. You never complained. You have always weathered it. You have never disappointed me. And the loyalty of your love to me is unparalleled. Thank you. And my pledge to all of you is what it's been. I'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Harvey, would you come up to the podium?
Good morning. I think all of us are going to follow Judge Bateman's advice and stay under William Henry Harrison's 2.5-hour inaugural address, especially because he died 3 months after giving it. So, but I do want to thank the members of the bench for your role today. Thank you very much for being here. To my fellow electeds who were sworn in today, congratulations. I look forward to working with you. For those royal officers who are here today, thank you very much for being here and for your work. I want to thank my family, people I care about who are here today, and to the many friends and supporters who are here, who helped literally put me behind this podium. There was a time when I would tease one of our staff members who helped get me here originally, that there were times I wanted to punch him in the face for doing it. So, but it has obviously, it is a deep honor. I want to also thank the members of our staff, IT, Communications, General Services, for their role in this ceremony today and for organizing this. I appreciate all the work they put in over the past month or so. I also want to thank the voters who gave me the honor of being your commissioner for another 4 years. It is an honor I take very seriously and very deeply. I have said before, it takes courage to put your name on a ballot. It takes courage to find out exactly how many people don't like you. For me, the number's about 85,000. That's just in Bucks County. So, but the oath I took moments ago binds me to work for all the residents and taxpayers of this county, whether you voted for me or not, whether you voted or not. That is my pledge. I'm often asked about what's it like to be an elected official, and the hardest part, oddly enough, oftentimes, is doing the right thing. And I say that because, to begin with, it's figuring out what the right thing is. And many times, the right thing is not the most popular thing. If this job were about doing the most popular thing, it would be very easy. If any elected official could just do, or any judge could just make the popular verdict or do the popular thing, this would be a very easy job. The problem is, of course, that the right thing to do is not always the most popular. But if it's the right thing to do, and you have the information and you trust the people who have given you that guidance, who have given you the information. You make that decision, and you take the criticism. And you, whether it's coming from people who didn't vote for you, or whether it's coming from people who did, whether it's coming from the other party or your own, people who supported you for decades or people who've hated you for decades. You have to take the criticism. You have to do what's right. One of the main problems in our nation today is we have too many elected officials who, quite frankly, show too little courage. It is not the spirit of this nation to cower and only do what is popular or to shy away from the difficult challenges because they're too hard. That's a phrase I've heard periodically when it comes to things like climate change, when it comes to things like finding a way to have housing for people who are coming out of college, who are looking to start a life, as tens of thousands of people did in this county 70 years ago when Levittown was built. This country was not built or sustained by people who shied away from those challenges. We didn't win a revolution with that attitude. We didn't save this nation in the Civil War with that attitude. As Commissioner DiGirolamo mentioned, the tens of millions of people who immigrated to this country did not come here with the attitude of, it's too hard. It is interesting, as Commissioner DiGirolamo held up the book about the town where his family was from, Ascoli Piceno. He did not mention that the book is written by my cousin. Because my mother's family also came from Ascoli. And in fact, he showed me the book when he learned that, and I had sort of kept it on my desk for a little while, and at some point decided I'd start going through it. So my mother has one very similar, and then I looked at who wrote it, and realized, oh, well, this is actually a family member of mine who obviously still lives there. But the attitude they brought here is the attitude that built this nation. It's the attitude that defeated fascism, communism, and racism. It's the attitude that took us from Kitty Hawk to Tranquility Base in 66 years. As John Kennedy talked about in 1962, going to the moon and the other challenges, he said, we do not do these things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. Because that is what deserves our energy and our best efforts. What we are facing today, in many ways, is a crisis of leadership to tackle tough problems. It's giving into fear. And as Franklin Roosevelt said 91 years ago, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Unreasoning, unjustified fear is what he called it. And we've seen that, unfortunately, too often in recent memory. It is a motivating factor, as we know, fear. Certainly both political parties use it at different times to get results. And while it can motivate, it can also cripple. Fear of change, fear to not change, fear of what's different, and unfortunately, a push to fear other Americans. It is that fear which cripples us. It blocks progress, it blocks change. It blocks the efforts that we all should be putting in to making this country better, and we can start by making our communities better. Certainly change is something that's not a stranger to the three commissioners. All three of us left careers where we were comfortable, where we were accomplished, to become county commissioners. We did it because we share a belief in government service as something that is noble, that it's our duty to make our community better, not look around and wait for others to step up. That's the lesson I learned from my family, from my mother, her brothers and sisters, many of whom are here today. That if you want to make a change, then start making it. Take those steps, get involved. we also have to make sure we're focusing on our future, as you heard. Because if we only focus on our past and try to recreate it, we won't be ready for the future. I'm very proud of the accomplishments we've achieved together over the last 4 years. There's too many to name, although they are on our website. But I'm dedicating myself to continuing that change, dedicating myself to do more, to continue the progress we've made. The responsibility to serve all our residents is a heavy one. I accept it with full hope and confidence that we will do better, that we will push fear to the side, that we will make the change that we need, and we'll leave Bucks County, when we leave these offices, whenever that may be, a better place than when we found it. So thank all of you for being here. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. All right, I'm going to ask Don McCloskey to come up again, and I believe you're going to sing the national anthem. Is that correct? And we're going to ask everybody to stand, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. It was excellent, thank you. All right, Father Stephen, you are up, down, Father Stephen F.X. Katzener, parochial vicar of St. Ephraim's, will lead us in the benediction.
I feel very honored to be here today. First of all, I have never met Mrs. Marseglia, but I was sitting next to your friend, and she said very nice things about you. I know Gene G. Duramo. I see him every morning praying. I'm one of his parish priests over in Ben Salem. And I know his family as well. And Bob Harvey, basically the reason he asked me to be here today is this. I was a parish priest at St. Mark's in Ben Salem from 1978 to 83. And during that time, Bobby Harvey was an altar boy trained by Father Katzener. So really, I feel very honored, Bob. Thank you so much. I remember two things about the Harveys. First of all, Bob, as far as I know, never got into any serious trouble as an altar boy. And the other thing was his mom, really, being a lovely person back then, and we've reconnected with the family. I have over the years. especially through Jean. And I've met her again today, and I really want to acknowledge Bob's two beautiful children here today. It was his son who actually told me where this administration building was. Otherwise, I'd still be somewhere else. I would just like to conclude in this way. First of all, someone once told me in situations like this, the four important points are: be loud, be clear, be brief, and be gone. So I'm going to try and follow that. So thinking about this, I thought of a story of President Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford, in 1948, he won his first election in Michigan for the U.S. House of Representatives. And one of the very first things he did after he was elected was to visit the dairy farmers in the western part of the state to thank them for their support. That particular morning, apparently, it was raining torrentially. It was awful. So the press thought, well, he's not going to go, so we won't go. But of course, Congressman Ford went to thank those farmers. And then when the press heard about it, Ford said two things. He said, first of all, those farmers get up every morning and milk their cows. They were there. And the second thing Ford said, I promised I would come back and thank them. We gather here today, and I want to, congratulate all the elected officials, but we all make promises. We make promises as elected officials. Clergy make promises, moms and dads, everyone. Lord, as we gather today, concluding, help us to keep our promises, as Jean mentioned, to stay close to God, to stay close to our families, and to always try and be a good friend so that we might be able to move forward and in this way be good citizens of the United States and good citizens of Bucks County. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Once again, I'd like to thank the commissioners for inviting me to participate in this ceremony. As I indicated earlier, this is one of my last duties as president judge, and I am confident that the next president judge will have the same working relationship with our commissioners as I did. I found it to be worthwhile and very privileged to work with the three of you. And I wish you well, and I'd like to wish all of our new elected officials well, and congratulations. That concludes our ceremony, so everyone have a happy and healthy new year. Congratulations again.